We welcome in Clint VanZant, who was with the FBI for 25 years as a profiler. Clint, first off, thanks for joining us, giving us some time. And then secondly, we're a little more than 24 hours now past the event in Boston. What is it that investigators know at this time?
Well, we know we've got a lot of forensic evidence from the bomb blast, and I know it's hard to understand sometimes, but investigators have spent the last 24 hours on their hands and knees retrieving pieces of that bomb. They've had police officers assigned to every victim in the hospital retrieving pieces of the bomb actually from the victim. And they will, at least on paper, be able to rebuild that bomb, the explosive that was used, the shrapnel that was packed inside, the believed pressure cookers that was used to contain it, the timing device. So there's going to be a lot of information forensically developed from that. And at the same time, law enforcement is poring over tens of thousands of pictures from surveillance cameras, iPhones, personal cameras that were there on site. There are pictures of the bomber that are out there. We just don't necessarily have them in our hands yet, but law enforcement should be able to identify who placed those devices, who built that bomb. And this blown up picture we have right now of this murderer is going to come together, and there's going to be a police officer and FBI agent tapping on this guy's shoulder very quickly.
What do the pieces of the bomb that have been recovered so far, what do they tell us about the person who planted those bombs in Boston?
Well, it's interesting when you look at the bomb itself. Now, normally when we hear of IUDs, improvised explosive devices in America, from a law enforcement perspective, you usually think of a pipe bomb, something built out of a metal pipe, caps on either end, black powder in the inside, and either a fuse or a detonator or some type of timing device. Very simple. This is, we're told, a pressure cooker. Now, pressure cookers filled with explosives and timing devices are not necessarily new. Back in 1976, we had a Croatian terrorist group hijack a TWA flight from New York to Chicago. To prove they were serious, they referred police to a locker in Grand Central Station where a pressure cooker bomb, allegedly identical to the one on the plane, was contained. When law enforcement tried to render that device safe, it blew up, killing a bomb tech. And realized in the recent, within the last couple of years, the attempt to bomb Times Square in the springtime, where an individual loaded his car with explosives and tried to set it off in Times Square, he also had a pressure cooker bomb. Both of those situations, one Croatian, one Pakistani, had an international flavor to it. Now, that doesn't say that a domestic terrorist couldn't find that idea, that design, and build that himself or themselves. But from a law enforcement perspective, we see bombs like that used in Afghanistan and Pakistan all the time. So you have to consider the potential, at least, for an international aspect of the bombing.
Interesting. All right, again, we're with Clint VanZant. He was a profiler with the FBI for some 25 years. You successfully profiled Timothy McVeigh in the Oklahoma City bombing case. Are there any similarities from what you saw there to maybe what you're seeing so far here in Boston?
Well, we look at the Oklahoma City bombing, and of course that was a massive bombing. It took a couple of people to build, took a long time to construct that. That was a horrible statement that Timothy McVeigh made. But if we look at cases also like the Olympic Park bombing, the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, where Eric Rudolph used 3 pipe bombs in that device and set those off, or in 2011, an attempt by a white supremacist to bomb a Martin Luther King parade took place also. With those situations happening like that, we have to consider the potential for a domestic terrorist also.